You can't just hear about what's happening. You have to come down here to see for yourself, to really understand the devastating reality at our southern border. So I brought Kamala down to see exactly what this regime is responsible for with their man-made crisis. Now, Kamala, I want you to stand here and look at what you've done.
Absolutely perfect. And Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, Republican of Colorado, joins us in the studio. Welcome and great to meet you.
Thanks so much, Greg. It is wonderful to meet you in person.
So you're a machine. You're a powerhouse. You are a media superstar and a congressional superstar. Did you see this happening 4 years ago? You were not close to this kind of life.
No way, Greg. I want to have my restaurant and raise my 4 boys and live out the American dream. I was raised in a Democrat household just because my mom believed the lies of politicians that you need government to take care of yourself. And when I learned at a very young age that I could do a better job taking care of myself than government ever could, I started to develop conservative values. And when I saw that there were so many Democrats that want to take that away from us, that want to take away the American dream, they want to infringe on all of our rights, I got so frustrated that I had to do something about it. I guess it kind of started when I confronted Beto O'Rourke. We've talked about that. I drove 3 hours to his presidential rally just as a frustrated mom and a gun owner after he told everyone he was going to take our guns. And I drove down there and told him, hell no, you're not, with my Glock on my hip. And I saw that I could actually represent and affect millions of people just by saying what I believe. And so for me, it was selfish to just sit back and complain about what I saw going on. So this is me stepping up to do my part to serve our country. This really is about, it's a battle between socialism and poverty and freedom and prosperity.
Well, we're so happy that you got in the mix, really. You're changing the conversation. So what's going on at the border? You've been there a lot more recently than Kamala Harris, who hasn't been there in years. What's happening?
I've been there twice now. I went down to Arizona and saw the border there first, and I went with Chairman of the Freedom Caucus, Andy Biggs, and a group of wonderful members of Congress. And we went and spoke with Border Patrol agents. We went and spoke with the farmers who are having their properties destroyed by these migrants coming through their property. And that still wasn't enough because no one was doing anything about it. We have Kamala Harris that was then tapped as border czar. And it had been more than 70 days since she was tapped as border czar, and she still had not been down there. So I was in the Rio Grande Valley sector and McAllen, Texas, and I spoke again with Border Patrol agents. I spoke with the sheriffs and the landowners, and I saw firsthand what was really happening there. Greg, I got to tell you, the Border Patrol agents, they are overwhelmed. They're overrun. Their facilities are obviously over capacity, but they cannot even test people for COVID because they can't risk having a positive COVID test and quarantining these illegal aliens that are crossing. So they're not even testing them in the Border Patrol facilities.
Why is it? Why are they blowing off this problem? They want, the theory is, globalists want the cheap labor, Democrats want the votes. Is that what's happening here?
Greg, for you and I and everyday Americans and the ranchers who are having their properties destroyed by these people busting their fences and getting in, this is a crisis. But for Biden and Kamala, this is mission accomplished. She's not going down there because this is exactly what their policies intended. The hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that are crossing our borders, the families that are self-separating, Greg. We heard for years under the Trump administration that Trump is separating parents and children, and he's putting the children in cages. Well, this time last year in the Trump administration, there were 1,400 unaccompanied minors in the HHS facilities. Now, when I was there, there were 22,000 unaccompanied minors in the custody of the HHS facility. This is a full-blown crisis, and parents are self-separating from their children because of the Biden policies. If your child is 7 years of age or older, you cannot cross with your child. So they are purposefully self-separating from their children, putting their children in the hands of the cartels and meeting them on the other side, knowing that we will reunite them on the other side. I've seen the buses of migrants filled, and it's on a 15-minute loop. There's a sign in the front of the window. It says 15-minute loops. They're filling these buses with migrants, sending them into hotels and sending them all throughout our country. Greg, I saw them in the McAllen airport, groups of migrants with manila envelopes with instructions on how to board their future flights, and they are going all over the country. This is not just a problem for Arizona and Texas. This is a problem for our entire nation. A country without a border is not a country at all. And without a secure border, every state is a border state.
Well, Kamala Harris talks about the border. She hasn't been there, and she said this not too long ago.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
The press treats you like you're the inappropriate renegade. And look at that. That is not a serious person.
No, not at all. To laugh something like that off. And who is we? We've been to the border? Me and Andy Biggs have been to the border, but Kamala has not been down there. And then to bring up Europe, well, now that Biden's been to Europe, maybe she could go down to the border. I don't know. I think Biden thought he was in Mexico. Who knows if he even knew where he was when he went overseas. But this is really a disgrace to our nation. And this is why me and so many others are stepping up, because our country's security and future really depend on what we do and the actions we take to hold people accountable.
Well, let's see. She is focusing on the root causes, which I think could take about a half century to correct. But take a look at this.
We are focused on addressing both the acute factors and the root causes of migration.
The root causes of migration.
Dealing with root causes? You can't say you care about the border without caring about the root causes.
Dealing with the root causes of migration. We better care about the root causes.
The root causes.
You know, the root causes, Joe Biden, I've heard he wants to set up light systems in Guatemala and some of these countries, and he gets really excited about the contracts that go with that. Have you noticed that?
I have. Yes. And, the root cause is enriching the cartels and allowing them to run this a very highly sophisticated crime organization through our country. The root cause is an unsecure border. The root cause is Border Patrol agents not having the funding or the resources or the facilities to occupy this mass surge of migration. The root cause is at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C.
Lauren Boebert.
Hey, you called McCloskey governor. I mean, I'll take that.
What was I drinking this morning? You'd think it was 4 hours since I had a drink. It's been 5 years. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Greg.
It's
been a
right?
pleasure.
To be
Thank
continued.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.